following program contains content and language that some viewers may find instructive. Viewer attention is advised.
Hello, this is Bridge with Stephen. Today we're beginning the first of 3 sessions on the subject of doubles, and we're going to begin by talking about takeout doubles today. Next time we're going to be doing negative doubles, and in the final section what we're going to be doing is covering the other assorted doubles, at least just mentioning them in passing, and also talking about how we decide which double our partner is making. After all, when we make a takeout double, we don't say takeout double, we just say double if we're playing at home, and if we're playing in a bridge club, we pull out the red X and put it down. A partner has to figure out just what the double means, what we're trying to say, and what's expected. So today we're going to talk about takeout doubles. They're probably the most important doubles. Okay, takeout doubles are forcing. Like all artificial bits, they're forcing, because they don't really mean I want to penalize the opponents. It means something else. So you're expected to bid. It's usually the first bid of the partnership, okay? There is an exception that we'll discuss. Opener has bid a suit. If we make a double after a one no-trump opening bid, it's not a takeout double. Opener has bid a suit. We have opening strength, and we determine that using dummy points. Dummy points means shortness points. The reason is because we're going to be able to support partner, whatever suit partner tells us is his or her favorite. So since we have a guaranteed fit, we know that shortness in the opponent's suit is an asset, and we can give ourselves credit for it even before we know what that fit is, what suit we're going to end up playing, and if we do end up playing. We're going to have 2 or few cards in the opponent's suit. That's necessary in order to fulfill this third requirement, support for all unbid suits. We're promising partner that whichever suit other than opener suit partner names, we can support that suit. So we have to have support through all unbid suits. And the last thing I wanted to say is that takeout doubles they have an upper limit. There are bids that are too high to be considered a double after them to be for takeout. So for example, if the opponents, I'll make up an extreme situation, the opponents were to open 6 hearts, and you doubled that couldn't possibly be for takeout. That has to be for penalty. On the other hand, if the opponents bid 1 heart and you double, that's a takeout double. So where's the line? Well, we can draw that line wherever we want. But a common place to put it is between 4 hearts and 4 spades. Opening bids or opening bids that are raised, followed by a double in a takeout situation. If the bid is up to 4 hearts, our double is for takeout. If it's 4 spades or higher, it's for penalty. Okay, we're going to find that there's some exceptions to some of these rules that I just made, and we'll mention those as we go along. Strength. I said opening bid. You should have about 13 or more points to make a takeout double at the 1 level, over a 1 level opening bid, or perhaps a 1 level opening bid and a 1 level response. Okay. And we should add 2 more points for each extra level. So if we have to come in over a 3 level opening bid, we probably should have 13, 15, 17 points roughly. But that advice has to be tempered a little bit. So for example, we can make a takeout double over 1 club with a little bit less than we could over 1 spade, because partner can come in at the 1 level over 1 club, but over 1 spade, partner must name his or her suit at the 2 level. Also, there's a difference between these 2 options. If your left-hand opponent has bid a heart, partner has passed, and your right-hand opponent has raised to 3 hearts, that's a little bit different situation than if your right-hand opponent has opened 3 hearts. You may want to make a takeout double in each situation, but in this case, you're dealing with opponents that one has at least opening strength and they found a fit. And in the second case, you've got a weaker hand. So you can take those kind of considerations into your decision-making process. I also want to mention a few special options. This is a takeout double. 1 spade pass, 1 no trump double. I told you earlier that a double after 1 no trump is not for takeout if the no trump bid is an opening bid. But when it's a response to a suit, this is still should be considered a takeout double. This is a situation we're going to discuss a little bit later in more detail, but I wanted to bring it up right now. your left-hand opponent has opened one club, your partner has made a takeout double. Your right-hand opponent has raised the club to 2 clubs. You are expected to name a major. You will be, you may be 4-4 in the majors and not have a preference for one over another. Partner may not be of equal length in the majors. We're going to be talking about that in more detail in just a moment. So a double in this position asks partner to make the choice. Which major do you prefer? And then finally, in an auction like this, right-hand opponent has opened a club. You've overcalled a heart with this hand. Then responder bids 2 clubs, followed by 2 passes, opener passes, partner passes again. Now you choose to not let this auction die out. Your hand is pretty good. You're willing to play in a 7-card fit. You want partner either to raise your hearts with doubles in support or bid a 4-card suit of his or her own, and you're willing to provide 3-card support for either spades or diamonds. So this would be a case where we're making a delayed takeout double. This is an exception to the idea that it's always the first bid of the partnership. This would be a time when it's not. Okay, now let's consider the subject of overcalling versus doubling when we have a 5-card suit. First, we're going to consider the situation where we have 5-4-3-1 or 5-4-4-0 shape. When we have that kind of shape, we generally prefer to double when we're 5-4, 4-4, or 4-3 in the majors. Obviously, and also 4-4 in the majors if we happen to have this shape. In those cases, we prefer to double. The time when we might not is when the opponents have opened in a major and our 3-card suit is the other major. Generally, when the opponents have opened in a major and we make a takeout double, we want to have 4 cards in that major. So we might not make the takeout double there, even if we're 4-3 in the majors. I'm sorry, if we have 3-card support for the other major. So let's look at some examples. With this hand, partner, you're 4-3 in the majors. You have a 5-card diamond suit. What are you going to do over 1 club? Are you going to overcall 1 diamond, or are you going to make a takeout double? Well, what's recommended is that you make a takeout double. You're looking for a major suit fit, not to mention the diamonds. This would be another example where you would also prefer to make a takeout double than overcalling your spades because you're 5-4. On the other hand, if you're 5-3 in the majors, you're going to overcall, even though this hand has the right shape for a takeout double. You could justify making a takeout double. You do have support for all the suits, but you'd rather just simply overcall in spades when you're 5-3. So, as I said, when 5-4, 4-4, or 4-3 in the majors, we prefer to make a takeout double. But when 5-3 in the majors, or as in this example down below here, 3-3 in the majors, we're going to overcall in the suit. So now let's look at that. 5-3-3-2 shape. We overcall. In this case, after 1 club, we're going to bid 1 diamond and not make a takeout double. Okay, now when is the takeout double not forcing? I just said the bid is forcing because it's artificial. 2 circumstances. One is responder has bid. So your left-hand opponent has opened a heart, your partner's made a takeout double, your right-hand opponent has responded 2 hearts, and you have this extremely weak hand. You're off the hook now. In fact, for you to bid at this point, you're no longer forced. For you to bid at this point, you're making what's called a free bid, and you're promising at least 6 points. We're going to see in a minute that the advancer, the person who answers the takeout double, is forced to bid with as little as 0. But when right-hand opponent has bid, you're off the hook for that. Here's the other circumstance where you can pass partner's takeout double. You've got a hand like this, and the bidding's on 1 diamond by your left-hand opponent. Partner has made a takeout double, pass, and you've got this hand. What are you going to do with that? Well, you probably prefer to defend, and you're just going to pass and let opener suffer the consequences of your mighty diamond suit behind the on defense. Okay. Let's talk about advancing a takeout double. Partner's made a takeout double, and you're expected to respond. You're forced. If partner has made a if you're going to be responding in a suit, if you have both a 4-card major and a 5-card minor, you're going to want to bid the 4-card major. We're always looking for a major suit fit. And this is the menu. When we have 0 to 8 points, remember we can have as few as 0 points because we're forced. When we have 0 to 8 points, we bid at the cheapest level. Now, sometimes it has to be a 3-card suit. Look at this mess. Left-hand opponents bid a diamond, partners made a takeout double, opener's partner has passed, and now it's around to you, and you've got to bid after 1 diamond. Well, I think you're forced to bid 1 spade. It's terrible. This time you can't pass the diamond like you could back here with this beautiful diamond suit. But this suit's not strong enough to want to defend 1 diamond doubled. So you're going to end up bidding 1 spade. So keep that in mind when you force partner to respond to your takeout double. Partner can have as few as 0 points and might be bidding a 3-card suit. But when your hand is a little bit better, 9 to 11, you're going to want to jump 1 level. This is important because sometimes the partnership has game, and there's no way to know that if we aren't showing our strength range. So with 9 to 11 points, we jump 1 level. And with 12 or more, we either bid game, double jump, or Q bid opener suit. Okay, and we'll talk about some of that a little bit in a moment here. The way to remember this schedule is just remember the 9 to 11 range in the middle. This is everything under 9 to 11, this is everything over 9 to 11. Okay, let's look at this hand, for example. Right-hand opponent, well, dealer has opened 1 diamond. With this hand, a takeout double from your partner. Responder passes, and this is your hand. You have 4, 6, 7, 9 high card points and a doubleton. You need to jump to 2 spades. When you do that, partner's good enough to know that game is there. If you don't, if you just bid 1 spade, partner has no reason to think you have more than 0 points. You could be that weak. So you must show the good news with a jump. Now, this is a slightly different subject, but it's related. And this is the case where you have equal length in the majors and partner's made a takeout double. Partner doesn't have to have equal length in the majors. Suppose partner's right-hand opponent has opened a club. Partner is justified in making a takeout double with this hand, with this shape. But partner has 4 hearts and only 3 spades. Let's say responder passes, now it comes around to you. You don't want to just guess in this situation. You don't have to just guess in this situation. You can now bid opener suit to say, partner, I'm sending the decision back to you. Okay? Now I mentioned earlier that a Q bid of the opener suit is also used to show a big hand. If you actually have this big hand, you're going to force partner to game. You're going to get to game. When you have less, when you're doing this instead, saying I don't have a preference for one major over another, you'll make your judgment according to how strong your hand is. In this case, your hand is strong enough that once partner tells you the preferred major is hearts, you take partner to game. But if you were much weaker, you might just pass the 2 hearts. Okay, now here's how we advance in no trump. Usually we do this when we have length and strength in the opener suit, and no good 4-card suit of our own to name, but not so much length and strength in opener suit that we want to pass partners, take out double and convert it to penalty. We want to be a little stronger. We don't want to make a no-trump bid unless we have at least 8 points. So, and the reason for this is, I mentioned to you earlier that the takeout doubler may be counting W points, and it's probably counting W points, counting shortness. Partner may have opened with 4, 4, 4, 1 shape, and 10 high card points, giving him or herself 3 points for the singleton, knowing there's going to be a fit. Well, if you're going to be bidding no trump, that singleton's no longer an asset. So you want to have a few extra points to make up for the fact that partner has made a takeout double with maybe 10 high card points. Okay, with 8 to 10, we bid the cheapest no trump. With 11 to 12 high card points, we jump in no trump. And with 13 or more high card points, we bid 3 no trump. And this would be an example of a hand where you might choose to bid 1 no trump. Partner has made a takeout double of 1 diamond, and this is your holding. Okay, you've got 8 high card points. 9. And there's no suit you really want to name, and you don't want to leave the double in for penalty, so 1 no trump would be an appropriate response here. Okay, then finally, what's the takeout doubler's rebid after advancer has responded? We're going to assume that advancer has made a non-jump bid in a suit. Okay, when you have a minimum hand for your takeout double, you just simply pass if partner hasn't jumped, because partner's limited his or her hand to 8 points. When you have an intermediate strength hand, you can raise advancer 1 level, which is an invitation for advancer to go on the game with a maximum. Remember, advancer has 0 to 8 points, having made a non-jump answer, and with the maximum, 7 or 8, with this kind of hand, we want a partner to accept the invitation and go to game. When we have 19 or more points, we make a jump raise, and this invites advancer to bid game with a 5 to 8 point range. So we're a little stronger here, partner can be a little weaker. This keeps us out of trouble when partner has responded with 0 or 1 or 2 points, but when partner has a higher number, 6, 7, or 8 points, we can find our game. Now here's a very important point to notice. We never change advancer's choice, okay? We've made a takeout double. What we're telling partner is that we have support for whatever your favorite suit is. Partner's told us his or her favorite suit. There's no reason now for us to bid a new suit. Well, no reason if we made a takeout double. But there's another bid that resembles a takeout double. We can call that the strong double. It comes in the direct seat after an opening bid when your hand is too good to overcall. Now, overcalling is a different subject from takeout doubles. Takeout doubles are not considered overcalls. They're considered interventions, but not overcalls. Overcalls are suits at no trump. Sometimes your range for overcalling might be something like 8 to 16. That's a common range to use. If you pick up a hand with 18, 19 points, you're too strong to overcall. If you overcall, you're likely to miss a game. Partner has no way of knowing how strong your hand is. So what you're going to do is first double, then bid your suit. Okay, this will sound like a takeout double to partner. Partner can't tell that's where you're going. Right-hand opponent, say, has opened the club. You've made a double. Left-hand opponent, let's say, passes. Partner names her best suit and it's hearts. Then there's a pass on your right. And now, if you bid spades or diamonds or any other suit, you are telling partner that what sounded like a takeout double really wasn't a takeout double. Telling partner you have a big, big hand. So that's an important point to notice. Takeout doubler never changes advancer's choice. And when the double is followed by a change, it means it was not a takeout double. Okay, well, thank you. That's it for today.